Hi, I'm Ace Nazario, and here we are again with Coach James Bubba Ball. And Coach Ball, from the last time we were talking, you learned from your friend Paul Messick about a job opening at Baker High. And how did you apply for that job? Tell us what happened.
Well, I called downtown from Auburn, and Dr. Shaw said, come on with me, put in the application. So I did. He sent me out to Baker. I talked to Mr. Cook. Mr. Cook was the principal. He says, you know anything about basketball? That's my favorite sport. I said, just a little bit. He said, well, go down to the gym and talk to Coach Wolf. He's down there practicing the basketball team. So I went to the gym. He was running up and down the floor with players, and he saw me come in, so I sat down on the stage. He came over and sat down. He introduced himself, and he said, how would you like to coach these people in this region? I said, I like it, Coach. He says, you don't know how tough this region is. I said, well, the Birmingham district I come from, basketball is real tough, and I know this region is no tougher. And he said, well, we'll see. The coach I have, we have a rule that you can't be the head coach until you've been here a year. So you can do most of the coaching, but I'll run the ball club. I said, that's fine. Because I didn't plan on staying, but the baseball season started again. And so, needless to say, that's how I got the job. And they did. Dr. Shaw even told me, said, you need to be aware of the fact that we're only hiring you to the end of the year. And it didn't make any difference to me. I didn't have any money anyhow. And so that's how I got the job. And what most people forget is that we were 14-5 that year and qualified for the state tournament that year.
Coach, that's really interesting. Let me ask you this: when you and Coach Wolf were talking about this, and you're watching all the players practice, what was going through your mind? I mean, how were you thinking, I can turn these boys into champions? Did a thought like that ever come across you, or what were you thinking at that time?
Well, you know, you don't think you're going to turn somebody into champion, just they can play. You know, you look at athletes, first you find athletes. That's the thing. Everybody's not born an athlete. But even it's the talent the Lord gets you and what you do with it. And they had plenty of talent, and they just weren't producing. Now why, I don't know. It wasn't because of Coach Wolf, it wasn't because of Coach McDaniel. We you know, it's always mind over body. The old mind works tricks on you. And they just didn't think they could win.
Coach, your first year, you say you went 14-5?
Yeah.
But before that, you told me a while back that you had to close the gym up because most of your players live in Baker Village, right, adjacent to Baker High School. Otherwise, they would be playing basketball all night long at Baker High School. Tell us about that.
Well, you could open the door of the gym, bounce a ball, and 15 minutes there'd be 50 kids in there. They loved to bounce that ball. Mr. Cook didn't have, because Mr. Cook says, let's squeeze the points off that football and start basketball. Because at that time, we were going 0-10 most of the time.
Yes, I see. Anyway, that's very interesting. Now, can you recall your winning record on your second year, 1952?
No, I can't, but we won the Bi-City.
Won the Bi-City.
Of course, there's a funny little story about that. We had an assembly meeting, and we're going to honor the Bi-City champs, and across underneath the stage we had a big sign up that says Bi-City champs. One of the football players slipped in there and changed that C in city to a T. And when the students came in, nobody had even noticed it. When the students came in, they all started laughing, carrying on.
Coach, your first championship ball club was in 1955.
54 years.
54, okay. But prior to that, you were runner-up, were you not?
No, not prior to that. No, we were in the semifinals.
Okay, excuse me, that's what I meant to say, semi-final. Tell us about that team in 1955. What was so special about them?
Well, let's don't skip the 54 first.
Okay, well, excuse me, I'm sorry, 54.
That's the first state championship team.
Okay, tell us about that.
Well, they didn't even know there was a school named Baker in the state. And when we won the state, Furman Bishop wrote headlined in the Atlanta Constitution, Baker Village High School of Columbus, Georgia, wherever that is. So they respected us as when Paul played all the way through. From then on, they knew where Baker High School was.
That's great. Go ahead.
Because we beat 4 of the best teams in the state in the tournament. We didn't get a good draw. We got the toughest draw in the tournament. But like I said, you know, you see a good coach, you see championships, you see good players. No such thing as a coach that wins without good players.
Can you recall of the 1954 championship team, who were your outstanding players or player?
We're not going to get into that.
It would create a fight, would it not?
The most valuable player from the state was Jimmy Lee.
Jimmy Lee. And Jimmy Lee, I believe,
Jimmy Lee made all Bi-City in football, basketball, and baseball. And all state.
So he was, to say the least, you could say he was a pretty good ball player, good athlete, no question about it.
At that time, in that period of time right there, we at one time had 3 of the top 10 scorers in the Southeastern Conference were Baker boys. That was going there and Carlton, Garner, and Jimmy Lee.
That's something to be said for right there, something to be said for. In tell us about your, can you remember anything about your 56, 57, or 58 team?
I remember they were all good.
They were all good. And I've been told, and I recall when I was attending Baker, but I've been told that Baker High had the tallest boys in the state.
Only for the 3-year period.
For the 3-year period.
That's the only time we had them both at the same time.
I see.
But we were good.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, we're running short on time again, Coach, so we want to move up a little bit ahead. You came to coach at Baker in 1951 until 1966, if I remember correctly. In Baker, in well, my mind's just gone blank. I think it was 1960, you started coaching football also. You were the head basketball coach before, and I believe you were also coaching baseball. But in 1960, you took over for Coach Wolf as the head football coach.
59-60.
59-60. And unfortunately, I played under you, but we didn't have the best record in the world. But
no, y'all was 0-10. That's like it is.
But you know, I remember, Coach, we had one of the most feared teams in the state because we refused to quit. I remember that we refused to quit, and we were also a very feared team in the state. Then came 1961, where we started winning in football. And from then on, well, we can't talk too much about from then on until we do our next segment. There again, I'm sorry, but we're going to come back again when we get ready to do our 3rd segment. So with this, thanks for listening to Coach Ball and myself. And hey, we'll be back. We're going to come back with Coach Ball again and do another segment. Thanks. See y'all later.